Hey friends, it's Friday today, and I'm giving a bonus social studies read aloud today because I have a lot of great books I wanted to read and share with you. And this one that I'm going to read today is really exciting. It's by Sonia Sotomayor, and you might have heard her name. She is a Supreme Court justice, so that's very exciting. And This is a little more about embracing our differences in our communities, accepting who we are, and showing each other our strengths about what we can give and what we can do in our community. It's a really beautiful book. We'll talk a little bit about Sonia Sotomayor at the beginning, and then we'll go ahead and get into the read aloud. At the end, if you'd like to, just post a little note, what you thought about it, did you like it, and maybe something you learned from the book also. Like I said, this is a bonus social studies. Yesterday we read The Undefeated by Kwame Alexander. I really hope you liked that interesting book of poetry. That was fantastic. Today we're going to read Just Ask by Sonia Sotomayor. And then next week, which is our last week of school, we're going to have a couple books about voting. I voted, and The Youngest Marcher, about how you as youth can make differences in the world and the impact that previous generations have made in the world as well. All right, I'm going to go ahead and shrink myself on the screen, and we'll talk a little bit about Sonia Sotomayor. She's written several books, including this one. It's her life story called Turning Pages. Sonia Sotomayor was elected by President Barack Obama in 2009 to the Supreme Court Justice. And an interesting fact is that she was the first Hispanic and Latina Supreme Court Justice in the United States of America. So that happened in 2009. So that was a really big moment for her and for Hispanic and Latina people nationwide. These are some of the books for students that have been written. Who is Sonia Sotomayor? Sonia Sotomayor, the National Geographic Kids book, and then a little book about her biography as well, growing up. So these are really great books if you want to read more. The book we're reading today is called Just Ask. So Sonia was, she's been a lawyer. A fact about her is that she was diagnosed having diabetes at a very young age, so this book will talk about that. She's been an educator, a public speaker, and currently is on the U.S. Supreme Court as a Supreme Court Justice. So she's had a very eventful life, and she is out there making a difference for people and Hispanic and Latina community every day. All right, Just Ask by Sonia Sotomayor, illustrated by Rafael Lopez. All right, I'll make this a little bigger. Whoops. Okay. The words might be a little bit small, but I'll kind of read aloud to you. The introduction is Sonia and her friends are planting a garden, and each one contributes in his or her own way. Rafael has asthma and sometimes has to stay calm so he can breathe better, which gives him time to paint beautiful rocks for the garden. Anthony uses a wheelchair to get around and can move super fast, directing the group. Anne has a stutter and prefers to listen just so she knows how to plant each flower. All of the friends are different, but they all have one thing in common. They like to ask questions and learn about one another. All right. Oops. My page isn't turning, I'm sorry. Okay, we'll do it this way. Just ask. Be different, be brave, be you. This is dedicated to Peter Kugasin. You have taught me that a body ravaged by ALS neither stills your brilliant wit nor changes your specialness of who you are, nor the preciousness of what you give to others. For Santiago, my mighty little Sequoia. A letter to readers. This is from Sonia Sotomayor. This is her telling you about her life. I was born on June 25th, 1954, and in 1961, when I was 7 years old, I was diagnosed with juvenile diabetes. Take care of myself, I had to do other things kids did not. Sometimes I felt different. When kids saw me giving myself a needle shot of insulin, my medicine, I knew they were curious about what I was doing. But they never asked me, my parents, or my teachers about it. I often felt they thought I was doing something wrong. As I grew older, I realized there are many ways to be, that I was not alone in feeling different. I wanted to write this book to explain how differences make us stronger in a good way. Like my experiences with diabetes, the challenges some kids face can be very hard sometimes and frustrating. Some of us have conditions that require medicines or tools to manage things that other kids never have to deal with. Some of our difficulties are not even visible to others, but they make us feel different, and we may do things that others don't understand. Yet all of these challenges often give us strength that others can't imagine. I hope by seeing yourself or your friends in this story, you will understand that we're all different, and you will find the notion comforting and empowering. I hope, too, that you will recognize what we have in common. Instead of fearing our differences or ignoring them, we can shed light on them and explore them together. If you ever wonder why someone is doing something different from other kids, just ask. Sonia Sotomayor. All right. Let's see if I can make that a little. I know this is a little bit small. Sorry about that. All right. Hi, I'm Sonia. My friends and I are planting a garden. Gardens are magical places. Thousands of plants bloom together, but every flower, every berry, and every leaf is different. Each has a different smell, different color, different shape, and different purpose. Some flowers need lots of sunlight. Others thrive in the shade. Some have to be trimmed regularly, while others are better off left alone. Some trees and flowers are more fragile, and others are more hardy. Kids are all different too. Some of us are in a hurry, and others take more time. Some of us seem shy and quiet, while others are very chatty and loud. Some of our differences are easy to spot. Others take longer to notice. Each of us grows in our own way. So if you are curious about other kids, just ask. Not everyone is comfortable answering questions about themselves, but I don't mind. What am I doing? Several times a day, I prick my finger to measure the sugar in my blood, and I give myself shots of medicine called insulin. I do this because I have diabetes and my body doesn't make insulin naturally like other people's. Even though this can sometimes hurt, I gather all of my courage to do it to be healthy. Do you ever need to take medicine to be healthy? I do. My name is Raphael, and I have asthma, which means I sometimes have trouble breathing. When that happens, I take a break and use an inhaler with medicine to make breathing easier. Quiet time helps me slow down and catch my breath. My inhaler is like a tool to help my body. Do you use a tool to help your body? I'm Anthony, and I use a wheelchair to get around. Even though I can't run with my legs, I can go super fast. How do you get from place to place? My name is Madison, and my guide dog Lucky helps me get to places safely because I'm blind. My friend Arturo is blind too. He uses a cane to get around. Even though we can't see, we strengthen our other senses and notice lots of details others may miss. We can hear with our ears, smell with our noses, and feel with our hands. How do you use your senses? I'm Vijay. I learn about the world differently because I can see, but I can't hear. I'm deaf. Most of the time, I communicate with people using my face and hands through sign language. It's cool to know another language. I also love reading and writing. What about you? I'm Bianca, and I have dyslexia. So when I have to work really hard and take my time when I am reading and writing words, sometimes I use computer programs to help me. I love learning by doing things. My imagination is full of ideas, and I'm very good at making art from the pictures I see in my mind. Are you really good at something? I'm great at dinosaurs. I know all about them. I'm Jordan, and I have autism. Organizing and counting my toy dinosaurs again and again makes me feel calm. My classmate, Tiana, also has autism, but it's different for her. She doesn't talk, but I like to talk. Especially, I like to talk about dinosaurs. What do you like to talk about? For me, listening comes more easily than talking, and I'm a really good listener. My name is Anne, and I speak with a stutter, so sometimes I repeat a word or get stuck when I try to say it. It may take a little longer to express myself, and sometimes I'm too shy to talk, but I understand everything that's going on. Do you ever wonder if people understand you? I do. My name is Julia. Sometimes I wiggle or make sounds that I can't control because I have Tourette syndrome. People may look at me funny because they think I'm not paying attention or just acting out, but it's not true. I am listening. I don't always like having to explain. It frustrates me, but it helps when I tell people that it's just what my body does. Do you ever feel frustrated? My name is Manuel, and I have attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. It's also called ADHD. I can get frustrated when I really feel the need to move around even though I'm supposed to sit still. When my teachers and friends are patient with me, if I forget something or get distracted, I can get myself back on track. What's helpful to you? I'm Nolan. It's helpful for me when the food I eat has a clear label that says it is nut-free because I'm allergic to nuts. They can make me so sick that I would have to go to the hospital if I ate any, even by accident. So I always tell people about my allergy and ask if any food has nut ingredients. Speaking up keeps me healthy. How do you use your voice? I love to sing, and I love to talk. I love to make new friends and be included. I am Grace. I was born with Down syndrome. Kids like me with Down syndrome have an extra building block called a chromosome in our bodies. But we are all different from each other too. I can do almost anything other kids can do, though learning new things can take some time. One way I learn is to ask questions. What helps you learn? Hi, it's me, Sonia, again. I ask questions too. When something seems different or new, I just ask my parents or my teachers and they help me to understand, especially if my friends don't feel ready to explain. This is what I've learned. Imagine if all the plants in this garden were exactly the same. Like, what if we could only grow peas? That would mean no strawberries or cucumbers or carrots. It would also mean no trees or roses or sunflowers. Just like in our garden, all the ways we are different make our neighborhood, our whole world, really more interesting and fun. Just like all of these plants, each of us has unique powers to share with the world and make it more interesting and richer. What will you do with your powers? And that is the end of our book. Sonia just put some acknowledgments, people that helped her write this book in the back. And then there's a little biography that you could zoom in and read later. And that is the end of our book. All right. I really love that book. I hope that you all loved it too. Great read talking about our differences and why it is so important that even though we are all different, that it makes the world a better and a good place. I made a couple connections in that story. I actually have a cousin who is deaf. His name is Manny, and he uses sign language to communicate, and he can also read lips. So that was a connection that I made. I have a family member who is deaf, and he's taught me a few, like when I want coffee, I go like this, and this is the coffee grinder. This is thank you in sign language. So some great things to learn there. I also made a text-to-self connection. So that was a text-to-world connection that I just said with my cousin. But text-to-self, I have an allergy as well. I'm allergic to shellfish. So the boy in the book was allergic to nuts, but I'm allergic to shellfish, which means I can't eat crab or lobster or clams or oysters or what else can I eat? Scallops, because those make me really, really sick. And I would also have to go to the hospital immediately because they can really damage my body. So I made a couple connections there. So if you can make a connection, that's great. Leave a comment below. Otherwise, let me know what you think about the read aloud, and I'll see you next week with our 2 new read alouds that I talked about. I voted, and The Youngest Marcher. So I look forward to reading those with you. All right, everyone, have a good weekend. Adios. Bye.